Hello students, welcome back. In this video, we're going to work on some mechanic expansion of systems that we've already built in our game. In this video, we are going to expand on our fuel system. Right now, our poor probe only has a limited amount of fuel to navigate through our asteroid field. And if they run out, it is game over. There is no chance for them to get more. So what we will do is we will add a fuel pickup system in this game. We'll spawn pickup items that will drift across our space field that if the player, our probe, can interact with or collide with and pick up, then we will restore some of the fuel, giving them the ability to maneuver through our asteroid field just a little bit longer. So let's dive into our computer screen and let's start our mechanic expansion lesson. So I have lesson 7 starter file here for fuel pickups. We're going to expand on our fuel system. That's open here right in vscode.dev, and I'm going to minimize this and open up our file directly. So I'm going to open up the Astro Drift folder, lesson 7, and we're going to open up lesson 7 starter file. And let's see what we got to begin with here. Okay, I can zoom around. There comes some asteroids. All right, I like these asteroids. Looking good, asteroids, looking good. But I don't see any fuel pickups. I'm running low on fuel. I got to escape this asteroid. And I'm going to run out of fuel here, and then it's going to be game over for me because I have no fuel. Right? I'm out of fuel. I'm going to drift and drift and drift. Oh, no. Well, I got pretty lucky there, but I'm eventually going to drift off screen, and this is not going to be good for me. So this is not good. We want to give the player always have an opportunity to survive. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and add this new system. So anytime we add a new system, I typically like to start by adding our constants for the system so we can change how that system is going to play and feel and affect our game. And this is going to be done in mission number 1 right here in our student edit zone. So if I just scroll down, we see the constants for all our systems. We've got our stars, our player, our movement system, our fuel system, our ramp, our asteroids, and here is the constant section for our fuel pickups. So our fuel pickups are going to be circles, so they're going to have a size or a radius. I'm going to set this from 1, which is just comically small, to 15. They're also going to have a speed at which they move across the screen. Now, for what I've decided, I'm only going to give them a horizontal speed. So they're only going to move horizontally. They're not going to potentially move vertically at all. They're just going to move horizontally. So I'm going to set that speed not to 1. I'll set it to 75. And I'm going to keep it constant throughout the game. I'm not going to make those speed up at all. We're going to have a spawn interval. So how often do we want to spawn one of our pickups? I'm going to spawn it every 5 seconds. And we're going to have a off-screen buffer again. That way they don't look like they just pop into our world, but they move into the game world, just like our asteroids did. And I'm going to use the exact same buffer here of 60. And then lastly, how much fuel are we going to restore anytime we pick up one of our fuel pickups? So I'm going to restore 35 fuel points, which I think we started at 100, so just a little bit more than a third of our fuel. All right, so our constants are set for this fuel pickup system. Let's scroll down and see what else we get here in our student edit zone. Okay, so I get all my colors. So it looks like we're going to have a ring color, a body color, and a core color. Our ring color is going to be like a transparent, let's see, red and green. It's like a transparent yellow or orange. And then we've got our pickup colors right here for the body and the core. And let's see what gameplay variables we get. So for our gameplay variables, it looks like we have another array called fuel pickups, which are going to hold all of the fuel pickups that are generated in our game. So this is good. So we can do all of our operations on the array, much like we did with our asteroids. Oh, and then we've got a spawn timer. So we'll have a spawn timer that will count down, and when it's time to spawn, boom, we're going to create one of our pickups. All right, mission 1 is all done. Let's go look at mission number 2. Mission number 2, we got to generate our fuel pickup data. So it says complete the fuel pickup data object, include position and movement values. Okay, so we are generating a new system, right? We're creating a new system that's going to put objects into our world, much like our asteroids. So if I just scroll up here, when we did it for our asteroids, we had 3 functions to handle this: a generate data, a spawn our data, and our update our data. So we're going to generate our object's data. We're going to spawn our object. We're going to update our object. And our pickup system is no different. We have generate fuel pickup data. We have spawn fuel pickup, and then we have update fuel pickups. So we're going to repeat that structure again here. So in generate fuel pickup data, what is it doing? Well, it's doing one thing. It's returning the object of a fuel pickup. And so this object has three properties: an X property, a Y property, and a horizontal speed velocity, Vx. And right now they are all set to 0. That is not correct. We do not want that to happen. So when we spawn a fuel pickup and we create this object, where do we want its X position to be? Well, here's 0. I don't want that. I want it all the way from our width of our screen, and then we are going to use the buffer so it appears over here. So the X position should be, let's see, the width of our screen plus our buffer, which was called fuel pickup off-screen buffer. So here it is, this third one, fuel pickup off-screen buffer, tab to autocomplete. Where do we want our Y value to be? Well, I'm always going to start my fuel pickups over here in this X position because I'm only going to spawn one at a time, so I don't have to worry about staggering them. But the Y position, I might want here or here or here or here. I want it to be random so you can't predict where it's going to be. I just want to make sure I stay out of the HUD. So I'm going to go down the HUD's height, and then we'll work from there all the way to the bottom of the screen. But I also don't want the pickup to be partially off the screen, so I'm going to subtract the pickup's radius to fix that issue. So let's see, we're going to use the random function here, and we're going to start at our HUD height, and we're going to go all the way down to the bottom of our canvas height. But if we left it like that, there's a chance, because this Y coordinate defines the center of our circle here, there's a chance, I don't know if I can get us there to show it, that we would partially be off the screen when we create our pickup. It would be like right there. So what I need to do is I need to move down by the radius of our fuel pickup. So I'm going to do HUD height plus fuel pickup radius, tab for autocomplete. And then we get to the bottom of the screen, I'm going to do height minus, we're going to move back up the fuel pickup radius, tab for autocomplete. All right, our X property is done. Our Y property is done. We just need our Vx property now. How fast are we going to move in the X direction? Well, I think we had a variable for that. It was called fuel pickup speed. Fuel pickup speed. I had set it to 75. All right, there's only one problem. We're spawning these things all the way over here on the right, and a speed of 75 keeps them moving right. We want to move them to the left. We want to move them back. So what I'm going to do is I will negate that speed. I'll do negative fuel pickup speed. And just like that, our object is complete for our fuel pickups. We have them. So this is great. We defined that data structure, and if I come over here, I'm going to see none of them. Oh, that's sad. Why am I going to see none of them? Well, it's because we've defined the data structure, but we're not yet spawning the structure, right? We're not creating any of these objects. So mission number 3 is going to lead us there. In fact, I'm just going to scroll slightly down. Here's generate fuel pickup data. Let's go down just a little bit. And here we see spawn fuel pickup, where mission 3 takes us. It says spawn the fuel pickups using our generator function. Add each pickup to the active pickup array. All right, so we are only going to spawn one pickup at a time. So there is no need for a for loop here. But when we spawn a pickup, where is it going to go? We got to place it somewhere, right? In the data structure, and we're going to put it in our array that we looked at called fuel pickups. So that's our array. That's our container that holds our fuel pickups. It was defined in our gameplay variables right here. Fuel pickups. It's a container for all of our array, our objects. So we're going to come back down here and we're going to say, hey, in that array, we're going to push something into that array. What are we going to push? Well, we want to push a pickup. Where are we going to get this fuel pickup? Well, we're going to get it by calling our generate fuel pickup data. When we call this function, it's going to give back to us this object. It's going to return to us this object, and that object is going to go right in here, and that's what we push into our array. So I just have to call generate fuel pickup, and I got to have parentheses here in order to call it. Awesome. So now we are actually going to spawn our pickups. So let's run this. Let's refresh this. Bloop-a-doop. Any pickups yet? No pickups. Why is that? Why is that? Well, it's probably because we wrote this function, but I don't think we're calling spawn fuel pickup anywhere yet. Okay, we're not calling it anywhere. So when we go to reset game to defaults, let's go to reset game to defaults. So when we start our game, let's just spawn a pickup. So we spawned a bunch of asteroids to start. Let's do one. Let's spawn a pickup. So we'll say spawn fuel pickup. And let's test it. Let's see if we get a pickup here at the start of the game. So I know my asteroids are going to start spawning. Do I get a pickup? Do I get a pickup? Hello, pickup? Anyone? Anyone? Huh. I guess I don't see my pickup yet. Maybe we're not drawing it properly. Let's go take a look at our next mission. Let's see what our next mission has in store for us. So we're spawning our fuel pickup. That looks right. We're generating our pickup. That looks right. Negative fuel speed. Fuel pickup speed. All right. Our X is good. Our Y is good. We are spawning. That looks great. So now let's go see what mission 4 has us. Maybe we're spawning it, but we just don't see it. Well, we're spawning our core. That should work. Let's take a look at mission number 4. Let's draw our whole pickups and let's see what happens. So right now it looks like we're only drawing one section of the pickup. We're drawing its core, but I think we've got 2 other colors we had to work with. There was a ring and a body, right? So let's draw the ring first. The ring is going to be the largest part. So I'm going to put some paint in my paint bucket and let's load up a color. Fuel pickup ring. Yeah, here it is, ring color. So there's our color. And then I'm going to draw a circle. And we're going to use this pickup. So pickup dot X, it's X position. Pickup dot Y, it's Y position. And then we need a size. So fuel pickup radius, we defined. And normally to get the diameter, you'd multiply by 2. But this ring is going to be like a glow effect. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger than that. So I'll do 2.3. Right, and we're looping through our array, just like we did with our asteroids. We're saying for const pickup of fuel pickups. All right, and then let's draw the body. So I'm going to put another paint in my paint bucket. I'll do fuel underscore pickup body color. And now we'll draw a circle. So I'll do circle. And a circle needs a center X coordinate and center Y coordinate. So it's going to be this pickup's X coordinate, this pickup's Y coordinate, and then a size. Here my size will be fuel radius, fuel pickup radius, tab for autocomplete, and I'll multiply by 2 to get the diameter. So if you look here, we're going to have a big circle, a smaller circle, and then an even smaller circle. Let's run this, and let's see if we actually see our fuel pickups yet, because if we don't, something is going on. Hello, fuel pickups, where are you? Where are you? I don't see them at all. I wonder if we are creating them. Boop, boop, boop. And they're just stuck over here. We're creating them, and they know about their velocity, right? They know they should be moving at, what, negative 75 pixels per second. But they're not being updated yet. That's probably what's happening. We're defining the data. We're drawing the data, but I don't know if we are yet updating the data. And look at that. Mission 5 asks us to do that here. It says update the fuel pickup movement across the screen. Mission 5 is what we now need to do. It finds us in our update fuel pickups function. So remember, we've got generate fuel pickups, spawn fuel pickups, update fuel pickups. We didn't update them yet. So in mission 5, it says, well, we got a for loop, and it says for let I equal fuel pickups dot length minus 1, I greater than or equal to 0, I minus minus. Remember, this is looping backwards through our array, and we do that when we want to potentially remove something from the array. Eventually, our pickups, if we miss them, they're going to drift off the screen, and when they get over here, we don't want them to drift forever and ever and ever. We want to remove them. That's why we're looping backwards through the array. So it says update the fuel pickup movement across the screen. Yeah, there's no code here. That's why our fuel pickup is not yet moving. We were creating them, and they're just stockpiling over on the right side of our screen. So how are we going to do this? Okay, so what I got to do is I got to reach into my container of fuel pickups and grab one to work with. So I'm going to do fuel pickups, square brackets, and now I'm going to reach in and grab the fuel pickup that I want to work at. I could grab the thing at position 0. I could grab it at position 3, at position 2, at position 1, at position 0, but I don't want to hard code it. I want to grab whatever value of I we are on. And that pickup has an X property, and we are going to target its X property, and we're going to move it. So we're going to move it using our velocity and our time interval. So I'm going to take that X position and add to it this particular fuel pickups. So fuel pickups, we're going to go back into that container and grab the exact same pickup. We're going to target and add to it its Vx, or its horizontal speed. And that's how fast it's moving in a second. And I'm going to multiply by our time interval dt to get how far we should actually move. Now that we're updating our pickup, let's refresh our page. Let's see, is the pickup going to come flying across the screen? And it's not. I have an error somewhere. Oh, because hopefully you saw it. You were like, pickups, you spelled that wrong. I did. If you spell something wrong, your program will crash. It is called fuel pickups. So now if we refresh, I hit enter. There is our fuel pickup. Oh, look at that. That's really great. So if I try to pick it up, well, I can't collide with it yet. Oh, so we're not getting collisions. And it looks like that's the only one we ever get. Okay, so we don't ever get any more. So eventually we want to spawn like more fuel pickups, right? We hard-coded that one to be created, but we're not getting any more fuel pickups. Boo, boo, that's no good. So we got to work on our spawn system. So let's go to mission number 6. Mission 6. Hey, it says add the fuel pickup spawn timer logic. All right, so remember we had a variable called fuel pickup spawn timer seconds, and it was when we created it, when the game, before the game started, we created it, we just said, hey, take a value of 0. And then when we reset our game to defaults, what are we setting it to? We're setting it to our fuel pickup spawn interval seconds, that constant that we set to be 5. So at the start of our game, there is a 5-second countdown. We need to decrease this timer, and when it hits 0, we are going to spawn a fuel pickup. So right here in our update fuel pickups function, we are decreasing that timer by our dt value, the amount of time that has elapsed since our last frame, and then we're checking. We're asking a question. Hey, is that timer's value less than or equal to 0? If it is, let's spawn a fuel pickup. So we have that function. We already wrote it. It's called spawn fuel pickup. So let's call it. And we're going to be funny. You already know what's going to happen because we did this exact same thing with our asteroids in our last video. Let's do it here. We never reset the timer. So by never resetting the timer, there's the one isolated one we made on the beginning. And now let's see what happens. Oh my goodness, this swarm of pickups. I'm the happiest little probe ever. I could just pick up all of these, make sure my fuel is constantly restored. But we don't want that. That's going to crash our game eventually. So what we need to do is we need to reset the timer, right? After we create one of these, we got to take our fuel pickup spawn timer in seconds and reset it. So we're going to set it back to our constant fuel pickup spawn. Here it is, the second one from the bottom, spawn interval seconds. So we create a pickup and then we make it back to 5 seconds. All right, refreshing the page. That beautiful field of fuel should be gone. So let's look. That's the one we created on our own. There's the next one, and 5 seconds later, the next one should start showing up. So like right about now. Yep, and there it is. So perfect. We're spawning these wonderfully, and we can, oh boy, I died. Couldn't even test the collision because I know for a fact that these collisions are not yet working. We can't interact with them. So let's see what mission 7 brings us to. Mission 7 makes us do a little cleanup first, though. We got to take care of our game. Right now, we're creating objects that drift off screen, and they continue to drift forever and ever and ever and ever. We don't want that. In fact, we said that in our update function here, update fuel pickups, we're looping backwards through the array. You do that when you want to potentially remove something from the array. We want to remove any fuel pickup that has drifted off the screen. And so if you look here, we're asking a question that currently says if false. Well, that's bad news for you. False is always going to answer to no. So this line is never going to run. And this is how you would remove a fuel pickup. So our array, fuel pickups, dot splice means remove something from it at position I, and we only want to get rid of one of those objects. But we got to ask the right question. So we got to ask a question. When do we want to remove a given fuel pickup? Well, we want to remove it if it's far enough off the screen, if it's over here. So let's figure out how we're going to do that. We're going to target a specific fuel pickup. So we're going to say in our array, fuel pickups, square brackets, reach inside and grab the pickup that is at the I index that we're at. And that has an X property. We're going to look at that X property and we're going to add to it the radius of our fuel pickup just for consistency. So fuel pickup radius. All right. So now that's going to be like the left side of our fuel. If that is less than, well, remember we had that off-screen buffer. The off-screen buffer was positive 60, which is going to be over here. So this is 0, so I want to be negative 60. So I'm going to do negative my buffer distance right here. So negative fuel pickup buffer. I got to fuel pickup off-screen buffer. That's what we called it. So it's this one right here. Hit tab for autocomplete. So if that question reads true, then they are far enough off the screen where we can remove them. So right now there's going to be no visual indication that they are being removed, but we know in our hearts of hearts that that little guy, once it gets over here, is going to get removed from the array, and we will not have to worry about bogging down our game. We are cleaning up after ourselves, all right? We're cleaning up after ourselves. Now, the truth is, if we are really good at this game, no fuel pickups will get over there. We're going to pick them all up. We're going to say, ooh, I want that fuel pickup. Zoop. And you're going to interact with it, get it, and restore some fuel. Unfortunately, we do not yet have the collisions in place for our fuel pickup systems. So we have to add that. And let's go to mission number 8. I think mission number 8 gets us where we need to be. It puts us in the check player fuel pickup collisions function. Let's just verify. This function should be getting called every single frame. So let's go to the P5 draw function right here, which gets called every single frame. If the current game mode is play, we update our ramp, we update our thrusters, directions, update our thruster, update drift, update asteroid, update fuel pickup, so that's great. And then we're checking all of our collisions, and we have it right here, check player fuel pickup collisions. Very good. So this function that we're working in will get called every single frame. It says restore when the player collects a pickup, increase fuel, and remove the pickup on contact. So, we got a bit we got to do here. There's a question right here, and it just says if false. Well, I think what we got to do is if there is a collision, then we've got to do some things. So let's figure out what we want to do if there is a collision. Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to say, all right, fuel, we're going to add some fuel. Plus equals, let's see, fuel restore amount. Yeah, we had a variable here called fuel restore amount. That was one of our constants that we set to be 35. So we want to add fuel if we collide with it. So now we got to write the logic if we actually collide. If you notice here, we've got pickup.x, pickup.y, so we got a dx, we got a dy, and we've got a hit zone. Hey, this is super, super, super similar to what we had for our asteroid collisions, right? A dx, a dy, and a hit zone. Colliding with an asteroid, colliding with a pickup, the logic is the same because everything is a circle. These are circle-to-circle collisions. So I'm going to actually use the exact same check that we did here for our asteroid collision. This is the Pythagorean theorem check that we wrote the math out for in our last video. So I'm going to do dx squared plus dy squared less than or equal to hit zone squared. So if that's true, then we have had a collision. And so our fuel, we should add our fuel. We should add to our fuel. Let's refresh this page. Let's see if this is going to work. All right, I'm going for it. I'm going to use some fuel and I'm going for it. Hey, I went for it. But my fuel went above the max fuel. I don't know if you saw that. And my fuel pickup didn't go away. It's like I didn't actually pick it up. So you can see it's going higher than it should. Right, that's shooting too high, and we want to get rid of that. So there's a little bit of work we still need to do. So the first thing is let's make sure that we don't go beyond the range we should have for our fuel system, and then to do that, we're going to use the constrain function. And so we'll say fuel is equal to So we want to constrain this or keep our values in line here. So we'll do constrain. I believe we looked at the constrain function when we actually wrote the fuel system, right? Let's just see. This was in our player's movement. Yeah, we already looked at the constraint system. So we're going to constrain our fuel just like we did here with our thrusters. This time we're going to constrain it with our pickups. So in order to constrain, we need to specify what value we want to constrain, our fuel. The lower bound, what's the smallest value we can take? That's 0. And what's our highest value? That's going to be max fuel. All right, so now it's constrained. We also want to remove the fuel that we just picked up. And let's just make sure. Oh, look at that. We're looping through our array of fuel pickups backwards, right? We're doing the backwards looping, which means we can remove it. So I'm going to go to my array, fuel pickups, and I'm going to call dot splice to remove something. I want to remove what is at the position I we are currently at, and I only want to remove one element. And with that, I think our pickup system is complete. We're detecting the collision and we're doing the correct logic. So let's refresh this game. Let's see, can we move through the game? So I'm going to use a little fuel, zoop, zoop, and I'm going to pick this guy up right here, and I get some fuel pickups. Awesome. So it brought me back to max fuel. I didn't go over it, and the fuel pickup disappears. So now this is sort of nice. Like, it makes us leverage the risk reward. Like, that fuel pickup, is it worth going to get? Probably not. So I'm going to let that one go past. Oh boy. But I'm not going to get that one in time. But this one I might be able to grab that one. No. Well, I got to practice my game. That was pretty bad. But it had me asking the question, is it worth risking it to go get that fuel pickup? And that's the exact type of question we want the player to ask. So now not only are they moving through the asteroid field, but they're also managing their own thought process of the risk reward that the fuel pickup system gives us. If we can pick it up, we might survive that much longer because we now have the ability to maneuver through our asteroid field just a little bit more. So I think this is a great place to stop, and I'll see you in our next video.